and allow him to introduce the Secretary. Thank you. Asante.
Thank you, Daniel. Before I start, I'd like to make two quick acknowledgements. One to the Tanzanian press corps. It's been great fun getting to know you. And two, I'd like to acknowledge the other American companies in here, GE, etc., who have honored me by asking me to speak on behalf of the American companies in Tanzania, especially since I'm an adopted American and I speak with a rather funny accent. I came to Tanzania for the first time in 1982. I was 22 years old. At that time, the country's economy was, frankly say, on its knees. I remember when I travelled out here, I was asked to carry toilet rolls and electricity light bulbs for the hotel when I arrived. So things were not so good for people in those days. Despite those problems, I fell in love with this country, and I'm still in love with it today. It's a beautiful place, the countryside is amazing, wildlife is amazing, Zanzibar, white sand beaches, there are resources here, minerals, gold, uranium, all sorts of things. And then the biggest and best resource of all is its people. Tanzanians are very special people. I don't believe you'll find nicer, more peaceful people anywhere in the world. Dar es Salaam, where we are today, it's translated, means the haven of peace. Believe me, it is. Almost 30 years later, I've returned to Tanzania with my company Symbion because we were lucky enough to win 2 contracts with the Millennium Challenge Corporation through the Millennium Challenge account in Tanzania, which is an organization managed by Tanzanians from Dar es Salaam. We won 2 contracts, one to build 26 substations right across the country, and the other to build distribution lines, again, all across the country. Another American firm, Pike Electric, who are good friends of mine, they won another contract, and we decided that since we were both in Tanzania together, we would collaborate with each other, and that is exactly what we're doing. One of the things we've done is built a training school from our own resources to train Tanzanians in Morogoro, which is about 3 hours drive from Dar es Salaam. We're training Tanzanians from villages with no previous experience how to build power lines to an American standard of construction. To win those contracts, we weren't handed them on a plate. We had to bid against Indian firms, South African firms, Chinese firms, and we bid furiously, and we won. We won on merit. The price was not the main issue for the Millennium Challenge. They balanced that by doing a technical evaluation, which was done very professionally and very thoroughly. So they leveled the playing field between all the firms. It wasn't just driven on the price. So we're very happy that we managed to compete and win against firms from Asia. I'd like to tell you that 30 years from when I first came to Tanzania, I've come back and found what is a success story in the making. It's a wholly different place than it was economically. The people are still the best people I've ever met in Africa, around the world, and they're still very peaceful, which in itself is a fantastic achievement. You're at a power plant today which we decided to acquire after we arrived here and discovered that Tanzania was in a terrible power crisis and that there was a major deficit of power, around 250 megawatts at the moment. Tanzania expects to need 3,000 megawatts in the next 5 years. So there are plenty of opportunities in the energy sector for investment from US firms, from other firms around the world. the climate here for investment is first class. I've had the honor last week to meet with the President of Tanzania, and I was absolutely impressed with the sincerity of him, of the Minister of Energy, and all the staff in the ministry, and TANESCO. The one demonstration I think I can make of our confidence in Tanzania, working in Tanzania, is that we have acquired this power plant to sell electricity to Tanzania, to TANESCO, the utility, and we are not asking for a single payment guarantee. And that is because we trust them. So I'll end by saying that I started my real career when I was 22 in Tanzania. Now I'm an mzee. Probably means that I'm going to end my career working with Tanzania. Very happy to be able to visit again. I still love this place, and I look forward to coming back the next time.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to be here with all of you, and especially to be at this place where you can see the future of Tanzania taking place. I want to thank Paul Hinks for his comments about how he became involved in Tanzania, and I want to thank Type Electric for their partnership, and GE as well. And I'm delighted to be with the Minister of Energy and Minerals, as well as my colleague from the Foreign Ministry. And I thank Daniel Johannes for his leadership of the Millennium Challenge Corporation. I find that standing in front of a very large jet engine, which is what I am now doing, one that will bring electricity to thousands of homes here in Tanzania, is a good metaphor, because Tanzania is taking off, and you're taking off on so many fronts. But one of the most important is improving access to electricity. And that really means expanding what's possible with reliable, affordable electricity. Hospitals can stay open without fear 24 hours a day. Factories will be able to compete. New businesses and industries can start and succeed. Today, the 14% of Tanzanians who have access to the electric grid struggle through blackouts and brownouts. Some people generate their own power at 3 times the cost, but most do not have power. President Obama and I created the Partnership for Growth to help countries identify obstacles to growth and mobilize our resources in meeting them. And Tanzania is one of 4 countries in the entire world, one of only 2 in Africa, that were considered eligible to be the first partners for growth. And we are eager to help Tanzania deliver reliable, affordable electricity to its citizens. That is why the MCC is such an important partner in this effort. I want to really acknowledge the great work that the MCC is doing, along with our private sector partners, to extend power lines across the country. The island of Zanzibar, with about 750,000 people, gets its electricity from a 30-year-old submarine cable to the mainland. And when that cable falters, the power goes out there too. Through MCC, we are helping Tanzania build a new cable with more than double the capacity of the old one. Now, building power lines and electric grids may seem to some like boring, dry, technical work. Not something that the press would be interested from either Tanzania or the United States. But in fact, if you are looking for the single biggest reason why development is not succeeding in Latin America, Africa, and Asia, it is because of the lack of energy. and the inability to deliver electricity to people where they can use it. Now in Tanzania, we have found a government and a people that understand this. And I know how important it is to finish what we started together. I'm convinced that this will not only be good for Tanzania, but Tanzania will be a model, not just for Africa, but for the rest of the world. Now we want to take every opportunity to help Tanzania overcome all of the obstacles to growth that you face. With rural feeder roads, and we just visited a very important site for our program called Feed the Future, then farmers can bring more products to market. With a more effective fee and payment system, Tanzania can attract investors who will provide even more access to electricity and energy. But even as we expand Africa's energy supply, we need to ensure we are not worsening another obstacle to growth, climate change, and the effects we are already seeing here in Africa and elsewhere. Now, plants like this one, which runs on natural gas, can help us make the transition from coal-fired power to clean energy sources. This jet engine runs on natural gas. Tanzania happens to have natural gas, so this is another example of a good win-win strategy. The next major UN climate conference will be held in Africa, in Durban, South Africa. And the progress that we are making on food security, access to clean water, public health, and many other issues will only be sustainable if we work together to mitigate and respond to climate change. We believe in partnership, and we believe in competition. You heard Paul say that when MCC put out the bid to build power lines across this country, a lot of companies competed, but 2 American companies won. We're very proud of that because we frankly want more American companies competing for business in Africa. And we're going to take that message back to America and urge them to get out here and compete for these important projects. Now these companies are not only investing in Tanzania, but as Paul said, they're investing in the people first and foremost. I love the idea that Symbion and Pike Power created a center, a school to train Tanzanians in cutting-edge technical skills. Now, are these some of the young men who are, and others who are working there? Please stand up. I'm very proud of you. Please stand up. Very good, young men and women. Yay! I know that some of the local staff have even been sent to the Northwest Lineman College in Boise, Idaho. And I appreciate that you're coming back and sharing those skills. Thank you, sir. I know that among the people who are being trained is a young woman, Agnes Shayu. Agnes? Now, Agnes wasn't hired to install power lines. Agnes was hired to become a cleaner. But she saw the other trainees studying to become linemen, and she knew immediately that's what she wanted to do. And so Agnes became, as far as we can tell, the first and only line woman working in Tanzania today. These are jobs, these are electricity opportunities that I am absolutely committed to support. I told Paul it's one of the great puzzles why providing electricity remains so hard for so many countries. In our own hemisphere, one of the great efforts we're undertaking is to help Haiti recover from that terrible earthquake. They didn't have a lot of energy before. We're going to try to help them have energy going forward. But in country after country that wants to develop, electricity remains unavailable. So I don't want to put a lot of pressure on Symbion and Pike Power and on the linemen and the government, but this is important for everybody. If you do it right, we're going to go and tell that story across the world. And we're going to point to the successful efforts right here in Tanzania. Because it's one more story of a